Okay, everybody, welcome. And I am really thrilled and honored to be able to welcome and bring to you in the Evolutionary Guest Speaker Series today, Magda Summer. She is going to share her journey, her passions, her techniques. Magda specializes as a functional medicine nutritionist and believes in ultimate health transformation. And she supports people to achieve their health and wellness goals, but from a holistic approach rather than a symptomatic approach. So not just looking at the actual symptoms of it, but what are the root causes and how do we connect to our health in a whole body, bringing to life our mind, our soul, our spirit, our bodies, so that we can really achieve ultimate wellness and health in all the aspects of our lives. So it really is an honor. It's a privilege. I'm so looking forward to this conversation, this sharing, and this transformational journey she has been on herself as she shares it with us. So Magda, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate you being here and sharing your heart, your lessons, your transformation, and your knowledge with everybody here.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. It is absolutely pleasure and fun. Yeah, it's always like nice interacting with you. So thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this because I think this is really something that is important for people to realize. You know, a lot of us just rely on doctors and it's a symptom. And for me, it's kind of like this Band-Aid idea. But before we jump in, because this can touch on so many things that I'm passionate about too, I love to begin all these guest speaker series really so that people can connect and see for themselves also who they're getting to learn from and getting to know. So I love to always begin all my interviews with, who are you at your soul level?
This is a very deep question. And for a long time, I forget who I am. So I was sitting for that for quite a while. And at that right moment, when I start remembering and rediscovering myself, I discover, my true self is just wild and free. I don't like structures. I don't like not even negativity. I feel possibility in everything and I feel all the good. And I'm extremely naive, not so sure is a good thing or not good thing, but I always see the good, that, mystical belief that good will prevail. There is always a hope. There is always a possibility. There is always a way to achieve something. And I believe also to be possible to do that, you need to be yourself completely with your alignment with the person who are you meant to be, the reason why you were put on this earth. So I forget that I was wild and free. I loved it. I love this, being unapologetically me. I'm doing stuff what maybe are not society approved for a woman or even for human or the age, not so sure. I just don't like it. I like to be free. I like to do whatever I want and desire at that moment.
I love that. I think, I mean, and I love, because I know you, and that kind of essence of freedom. What I think is so beautiful is when we show up like that for ourselves, we also allow permission for others to step into that as well. So that's really powerful. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's interesting that it's an interesting mindset too, because you say, is it naive? But to touch into all that, like, is it naive or is it really the best way? That's what's interesting when we're challenging our own norms, because I'm very much like you. I share that idea of like, who am I, and discover it. So I love it. And I love too, because it's going to be fun to talk about this, because for someone who's saying, I don't like structure and all that, then to be in the side of like medicine and whole health, which is typically by standards, a very structured environment. So I'm interested to dive into that. So share with me and everybody watching now, what is your life's message? What is it that you, through your coaching and your guidance of whole health, what's the message that you're sharing in your heart of impact to bring to life to people?
My message is, we need to add life to life. And doing that, I believe we need to connect with ourselves, with our body, to seek our light. Because only way when we empower ourselves, we can help ourselves. Because no one is responsible for my health, it's just me. Not your doctor, not your friend, it's you. You are responsible. So the message is basically simple. Without your body, you are nobody.
Mm.
It's simple, it's just we are treating our bodies like, you can go and buy another one. We treating them worse than a cars, and we know more even about our cars than ourselves. And to be honest with you, our body is our vehicle. It's take us everywhere. It's always with us. And we keep beating that and demanding. We should live in harmony. So that's why without your body, you're really nobody. So treat it like as a best friend, like a temple.
I love that. I love that. And it really, it's so true. I think like even for myself, because even to this day, I won't say that I'm the healthiest, although I did discover Buddha bowls, which I'm in love with. But it's this idea of like, I'll have time, right? It's like this perpetual idea we have where we push off our dreams, we push off our health. We're so like striving in the moment. We're like, oh, I'll have time. And then you get into the later years of life and you're like, oh, there's a lot of stuff people didn't tell me about my body that was going to change that is harder now. So I think it's super, super beautiful to bring to life for people to say, hey, this is your one. I mean, it's our one life. And the body we're in is like our close, yeah. And it's our closest partner in allowing us to, I mean, part of even for myself is now that I'm going to be turning 50 and I'm like, oh my God, I've waited so long. I have so many dreams I still want to bring to life. Is my body going to stay with me? Right. Like you have to. So I love
This
that.
is the questions what every day I'm asking myself. Is my body supporting my dream life? If not, how I can live this life? How I can travel? How I can climb if my body doesn't allow me to do that? And what's important, we are not our body. We are not. You never say I body. You always say my body, right?
I love that. I love that.
So that's why we need to connect back to ourselves, because we as people, as society, we never were taught about our home, our body. We literally don't know anything. We don't know where is our liver. We basically don't know nothing about our hormones, about our dashboard, meaning, our symptoms. We don't know nothing. So the first thing is, understanding this is your home and you need to take care of it, like about your car, because you will not put bad stuff in your car because you paid for it. And this beautiful things was given to you, right? For free. And that's why we're destroying that. We're destroying that because we don't understand that. We have no idea how that works. And it's time to change it. And you mentioned that, like, you are about to, start the, fifth round around the sound, like long one. So yeah, we just keep dreaming, pushing ourselves, masking the symptoms, and all of a sudden what? And everyone has this like, oh, I know people get sick, people get chronic diseases, people get cancer, but that's not me. It doesn't affect me.
Kind of play like Russian roulette, right? We're like, it won't be me. This one will be fine. Take a chance. And then unfortunate. And I think, in the essence of what you're doing is how do we get the message out before when they pull the trigger, it's got the bullet in the round, right? It's like, unfortunately, so many people wait until they have to make a choice, and say, okay, I no longer have that opportunity not to pay attention. Yet how do we bring the message to people so that they start to be aware of it before they have to, right? From out of choice as opposed to out of necessity. So I love that you're bringing this message. I'd love to know what, just in your own, because I mean, part of the reason I'll use me as a guinea pig, because again, I've certainly, if I do like my pizza. But there's a part that there's so many conflicting informations and it changes. Milk is good, milk is no good. Eggs are good, eggs are no good. What to you, though, just as an understanding, what does health mean to you?
Health for me is that my body do what I want them to do. If I want to climb, I want to climb on this mountain. I have been on the mountain halfway. There was volcano in Costa Rica, and my heart was pounding so much, so hard that I thought I will have heart attack. I was huffing, puffing. I hear my heartbeat in my ears, and I just couldn't calm down. And I was really scared and pissed at the same time because, okay, I want to go up and I can't. And I was scared because I'm the third world. I'm not so sure I can go down or something. So it was scary. This is the moment when you feel, shit, I need to do something because, my body doesn't support my life, my lifestyle. So it's need to something to change. And like you said, there is a lot of conflicting stuff because, we have no knowledge what to start because it's going back to our bodies. You need to know what is good for you, not for me, not for your neighbor, because, there is plenty of nutrition plans. I don't like to use a word diet because it's really diet, right? It's a lifestyle, and this choosing healthy lifestyle, you choosing life, adding more life to life, more joy. So you are unique like your DNA. So you need to learn what your body is telling you, what is good for you and what is bad for you. Because the gluten we're not supposed to eat, and you're not supposed to do dairy, or you're not supposed to do that, but it's really bad for you. What is your reaction? And I'm guiding my people, my tribe, to learn this. They're going through the nutrition plan, and the same time they learning, even where they have a liver, what they still telling about themselves, what the headache get means, and they learning what they shouldn't eat for their unique needs. Because it's all about connecting, like we're discovering our thoughts, we're discovering our soul, our mind, and also we also need to connect with our body. Because we're not just one piece, we are body, mind, and spirit. And we need to start somewhere.
I love that. And I think there's more and more supporting and people like you who bring the message out is your body. If you can be in tune and listen, it really does give you some pretty powerful signs. We may choose to ignore them because we don't, ignorance is bliss for many people, but I love what you do with this holistic, because when you can start to notice, like, even like, it's funny, like I normally, when I do these interviews, I end up coughing, and I know it's a nervous trigger because I'm like, oh, and so it's like that, the voicing, but I know that that's my body saying, hey, Sarah, calm down, relax, this is cool. And yet our bodies give us those signs. So super, super powerful. And so explain to me, so you have the moment, you're on the mountain trying to climb up. Is that like, why is this message so important to you to get out and share with people? Was there a pivotal moment? Is it something in your own journey?
It was a journey. It wasn't like you said. My best friend was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and there was no chance for her. I already was eating organic, knowing what's going on, but I really didn't pay much attention to it. And when she got diagnosed, there was no hope for her. And that is the word I don't like to use and feel, especially. So I start digging. And, I just learning about history of Western medicine, and it's really not nice. And alternative treatment, how they were hidden from us. And it starts opening my eyes. I adjust my diet a little bit and everything, but it wasn't affecting me, right? Again, that just was her, not me. So I was aware. I will say, I'm creating plan B just in case. All right. But it didn't change mine. At the same time, I had a bunch of car accident, and I had huge uterine fibroid. I even gave him name. Big mistake. But but the fibroids didn't stop me either, because it's common, and there is huge misconception because common is not normal. It's not life-threatening. I can live with that. Miserable. It was sucking life out of me because I was extremely anemic, borderline for transfusion, which I of course didn't do. Because if I go to menopause, it goes away. It will shrink. Why to care, right? And I wasn't ready to get rid of my uterus. I was born with that, but there is different conversation. Nothing changed because it wasn't death sentence. But after car accident, one day, my doctor called me. And with his dire voice, he is like, Magda, I got your MRI. There is something on your spine. And I would love you to go to Cancer Institute. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't sleep tight if I will not let you know. When you hear Cancer Institute, your life stops. And all was in my mind, for me, my language was like, fuck, not now. I'm getting divorced, I'm starting a new life. I finally am free and start living, not now. Thanks God it wasn't the cancer, it was just spine degeneration, but that was my wake-up call. That was my wake-up call because I just want to live, I want to experience it all, and I don't want to have regrets. So what to do is to take care of about myself, about my body. And that wasn't easy because, you know, like you said, there's conflicting information and you need to dig to find it. And I learned a lot on my mistakes, my research. And right now I'm just, you know, on the mission to help other women, because when my friend died and I attended her daughter's wedding, it's really sad that she never witnessed that. And I don't want to be the person who will be not able to be on my son's wedding. I don't want to be the person who doesn't know my grandchildren. And I don't want to be the person who have long life, but poor quality of life. I want to have it all, long and good.
I love that you touch on something really important because, you know, so much in mainstream medicine, they're talking about longer living, but they're not talking about healthy, longer living. You know, you see, I mean, our old age homes are, it's incredible. And if you look like the blue zones where these people are living longer, and yet without all the medicine, without all the need for these long-term care. So I love that there's a window opening showing there are alternate methods and more people like you saying, hey, I have the wild and free that I'm going to dare bravely and challenge the status quo and be part of the voice, letting people know there are options. Everybody has to choose for themselves, but that there are options. And when we can, like you said, it's our responsibility. It's nobody else's. The choices we make, that's one thing, but to at least be aware, I think we owe it to ourselves for, like you say, that holistic approach to living in everything we do.
Someone told me that people don't know they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is absolutely true. Like we are open to so many things, but we keep normal physiological things as a taboo. No one knows how much menstrual bleeding is too much, which is what is normal, what is common. No one talks about that. No one talks about, you know, hysterectomy. And oh my God, how many times I hear it, this is the best things what I did in my life. And it's like, let me ask you questions. Do you know that down the road, you cannot define gravity? Those things will go down. It keeps your organ up. So no one's talk about that. And as you know, I talk a lot about the poop. So I don't have boundaries if it comes to the body. So I want to inspire people. If you want to know something, you're afraid to ask, you feel ashamed, I'm your girl. I'm your girl.
I love that.
So yes, we need to know.
Definitely. And I love too, because I mean, totally doesn't have anything with the health, but to rip that Band-Aid off. And, you know, people are so afraid to ask because they're like, oh, what are people going to think of me if I don't know? And yet, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So ask, like, and ask more than one person. I mean, for me in life, when it comes to news, like people will tell me, oh, I saw this, I look it up. It's like, look where you're getting your information from too, right? In today's world where everything is just like on their phone, but open yourself up, look at different things, find what is there, find what makes sense, and don't just take whatever is status quo. So I love that. So what are some of the key? Yeah, sorry, little Magda.
Actually mention something deep, what I would like to encourage people to do. Ask us the questions and don't get blown away. Don't take more than one opinion, because there is so much conflicting opinion, and then also there is a lot of cell specialists. So you need to be really careful. And I learned one thing, wherever you go, if it comes to doctors, surgeon will sell you surgery. Radiologist, you will sell you embolization or something else. They will not even inform you about other options. Your job is to learn. Because, you know, there is hysterectomy or something is not only option. There is more, less invasive. There is stuff you can do. And there is like everything with cancer, with everything. Do your research. Do your research.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm not knocking the medical profession because I know they work hard, but they're also under a lot of pressure to see as many people as possible. And so quite often their auto is like, here, take this, you know, it's a hit or miss. And I know my own mother, when she was going through her thing, her general doctor was prescribing her like crazy medicines that just, it was like, what are you doing? Like, don't just take that, go and find out. And although it may seem comfortable to be like, well, I don't have time, you know, sometimes it's better to invest a little bit of time now so that you have what you need down the road. I think that that's an important one. And what would you give? What would be your advice for someone? Let's say they're just starting out on this journey, like they're feeling uncomfortable. They know their body's not 100%. Maybe like you, they get to the top of the road, or who knows, maybe they're just moving boxes in their house and they're having trouble breathing and they're kind of interested. What are some of the key starting steps that someone who wants to look into this can look for and can kind of be aware of?
First of all, prepare for a journey, fun journey, because you're adding life to life. It's not a quick fix because, to be honest with yourself, you work all your life to be in this position. It didn't happen overnight. So you cannot expect, you know, a healthy lifestyle to be like ibuprofen. It's one step at a time. And so this is moment of realization. And then do not follow fat diet. Find someone who will guide you. This is like with personal trainer. If you're going to gym, first time you have no idea what to do. There is a treadmill and bunch of machines. You don't know how to use it. You usually get personal trainer to help you. It's exactly the same with, you know, with the healthy lifestyle. It's easier when someone guides you and answer all your questions, because you will have those questions. You will first time in your life probably meet yourself, meet your body, and you know that's a journey of itself.
I love that metaphor because it's true. Like if you go to the gym and you just jump on a machine, you can actually really hurt yourself. And I think when it comes to food and nutrition, understanding the balance, and again, like you said, the fat, because I mean, it's what was it? There was a friend of mine the other day, and he's on like an all carnivore diet, like only carnivore. And I was like, yuck, one. But I'm like, I don't see anything where you're all in one kind of food only. That's so unnatural. Like I think part of it is connecting to our inner knowing and our common sense too, right? Like if I remember when we were, well, I don't, well, maybe I do remember, but when we were wild and free and running with the dinosaurs, you know, you didn't just have one type of food, right? So when we can kind of connect to what just like our own internal common sense sometimes too, to understand that any of these fads, they're just not healthy. They're not natural. They're not, it's not how a human is meant to
Absolutely,
be.
absolutely. Like, and it's another conflicting things, right? You said the person only eat carnivore. There is people who are vegans. There are people who are just so stricted. And right now, the mainstream narrative is that meat is not good for us. So yeah, the meat bought in the store is absolutely poison. I will not eat that. But meat is essential to us, especially organ meats. And then, you know, I tune into anthropology to track back how it really was. We always ate meat, always. It depends, and depends about the geographical location, and you know, maybe so many of you shake the hands, but think about that. What ate Eskimos? They don't have like plant vegetation or anything like that. They food is solely animal produce, nothing else. So, like I said, do not follow anything what is popular. Find the way to listen to your body, because your body is your Bible. It will tell you everything. Trust me, your headache is not because you're missing ibuprofen. There is different reason for it. Your diagnosis, your label is just label. There is something what caused it. We're not masking the symptom. We're going down the road to find what happened.
I love that. And to me, that's, I think, not to get all like political in this, but to me, that's the biggest thing, because it's a label. People, you go into the doctor, they give you a quick label, and that whatever, and again, there's a whole pharma conversation. I could go on a rant with these ones. But they just prescribe whatever. That's because there's also trends in medicine. And I think one of the biggest things that you said is a journey, and why it's so key that people do the research, and specifically if they can find a guide who's already done it, because everything you even watch on TV is backed commercially by an industry. And so they're going to put the spin on it that puts them in the right light. Whether, like, I watched one the other day about plant-based only and vegan, and that's fine. But it was backed by companies that sell the non-meat meats, which is fine. It's an option, but you also want to be aware of where the source is coming from, and just take it in as part of your information, right? It's all about expanding our knowledge, deepening our understanding, and then, like you said, understanding and being connected to our own bodies to make those choices. So I love that. I love that. So looking back on your own transformational journey, what do you wish you maybe knew earlier when you first started? What's like a thing, like, if had I known this one or two things, that would have helped me?
Most important. I was want to say something different, but the most important was that I am not my body. And honestly, that was a journey to discover it. And I was treating my body. I was demanding too much. And my body was completely, sending the signal, and me was just shutting that down to the moment when the secret said, no more, you didn't listen. So there was the big one, because when you understand that, and when you understand that you are responsible for that, this is your home, this is your $1 million home, then you treat it differently. You're starting treating this with respect. And the rest is just techniques. The rest is just techniques. If you change your mindset, how you approach the healthy lifestyle, there is not the burden, it's adding life to life, adding the joy, adding the trips, adding whatever you desire. That's a game changer. Because the diet word, come on, it's just immediately, if you hear it, you're shrinking. Because it's restriction, it's something you will take away from me. No, I'm giving you life, I'm adding to life. On the beginning, it's not easy, but honestly, when you were born, you couldn't walk, and it wasn't easy. You don't give up on yourself back then. Don't give up right now.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. And what do you see? Because I mean, there are a lot of people out there who know their lifestyle is unhealthy. They know their habits are unhealthy. I mean, I think most of us know stopping at a fast food place or eating, we kind of know it. And yet it's what's easy, right? It goes back to that easy. But there's a lot of people who, even, let's say, with substance abuse or addictions, like, they know it's not good for their bodies. What have you seen with your clients that kind of, like, where does that shift happen where they really make that connection, where they understand? Because I mean, most people do understand, like, if you're over drinking, smokers, even, let's be honest, I mean, in Canada, weed is legal now, but it's still a substance abuse that, alters everything in your body. And these people don't necessarily have that connection as to how to break it. What do you see most common, really, that kind of epiphany moment where people go, okay, now I get it? What's that been
There
with
is
you?
two aspects. One, they don't understand what they're supposed to do and how to do this completely. Another thing is the moment of realization. The moment of realization that can be easy, someone would guide them. And most important, what you mentioned, food is addictive. Sugar is as addictive as heroin. And heroin is why so addictive, because when you have withdrawal, it's put you in a for long period of time, in very low self-esteem position. And that's why people cannot get off it. Sugar also bonds with few hormones receptor, not just one. So understanding is just not your willpower is chemical addiction. And sometimes people are shocked, but when I tell you are an addict, and you should treat yourself like an addict. You cannot have it. And some people are, I would not say offended, but shocked how I can dare to tell like that. But I'm here for results, not for to please you. So So this is moralization. Okay, I didn't understand. I didn't know what I'm doing. And oh my God, this is not just me. This is my addiction. And the rest of this is just, we start understanding, you being aware, where's your habits, where your, moments come from. Because so we all have moments of grabbing something subconsciously. Without
I know
even
I do.
So I think that will be that thing what is the shifting for them.
I think it's interesting too, because you touched on something really important. I was shocked. It was many years ago when I was watching something about food. Anyways, it was mayonnaise, and they talked about how many millions of dollars they spend annually on adapting the flavor of the mayonnaise to make it so that you're going to want to, because really, I mean, it's, a lot of, I mean, if you actually read the ingredients on some of these foods, I mean, I'm always like, am I eating like styrofoam, rubber? Like, what am I putting in my body? And yet, which is interesting, because if we look at during, let's say, the pandemic, there were, excuse me, there were a lot of people who were like, I'm not going to take the shot because I don't know what it is, which is fine. But then I look at, like, read any bottle of almost anything, and I'm like, I don't know what any of that is either. And here I am popping it in my body, So I think it's really interesting. And I love that your holistic approach opens, because it's not just the food. It's not just the symptom. It's looking at your mindset, your understanding, you talked about us not knowing our body. I mean, the only thing I remember from biology was being asked to poke a frog, which I refused to. I think I failed the class because I refused to cut the poor frog. But you're right. There's not a lot of understanding of how to, like, someone touches their back, say, hey, is that where my liver is? Like, what's happening? I don't know. Like, we don't eat, we may have learned a very substance, but to actually, I think for me, it's like, how do you embrace, we talk about having great relationships with other people, but how do we start to have a great relationship with our own body and understand its needs and understand what it's saying and needing? So I love that you kind of look at all of it. You look at the tactical parts, you look at the symptomatic parts, you're looking at the actual nutritional, which is different for everybody, right? We all have different, like,
Needs.
My sister eats like crazy food and she never puts on a pound. Never. It's just drives me nuts.
Doesn't mean she's healthy.
That's true. And that's really interesting that you bring that up, because I was watching something the other day and they talked about that you might look like super skinny, and what, someone who's larger is like, oh, I wish, but the size of your body does not equate to the health of your body. And I think that's a really kind of important. Yes, I mean, there's certain parameters, but you can, on the opposite end, because typically when we see someone skinny, we just assume healthy, right? Like, oh, they look good, so they must be healthy, but we have to look deeper in that. So I think that's a key element to embrace and look at. I love that. And you're right. The other way, I think it might be an indicator that you're unhealthy, but there's just this automated assumption that if someone is skinny, that they're healthy. And yet there's so much. I mean, even I would never even really paid attention. I mean, the amount of fat we can store around our organs, that shocked me. I was like, oh, I've never even, like, I don't even know how you test for that or know for that. Like, your doctor doesn't talk to you or offer that to you, right? I was like, oh boy, fascinating. So part of the series is to show other people what's possible, how to move into it. So who, and you kind of touched on it in the beginning to say, you didn't really know yourself, and then you've kind of embraced this. So how has this transformation changed you? Like, who are you now compared to who you were prior to embarking on this journey of sharing this holistic kind of approach?
Before, I was completely ignorant. I thought anything on the shelf in the store is edible, and if it will be not, government will not allow to do this. I trusted in doctors. And I stopped. I stopped when I have miscarriage, when they give me chemo shot without informing me about that. I stopped when they didn't know answer. And when I start learning after my friends get sick, it was shocking. So I was completely ignorant if it comes to my body. Even in college in Poland, I got, 2 years of anatomy and physiology, but I didn't care, simply didn't care because, I'm young, but I have this belief the cancer is matter of time. There is no matter, no matter if, there was matter when. I completely changed my mind right now. I think the biggest part of understanding the health, it was understanding that it's not just a body. There is more to that. There is like three pieces, and we need to connect them to and listen to our inner voice to heal. And we have this misconception that it's something runs in family. It doesn't. I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's just your lifestyle what does it. So I'm still becoming. But I think I'm becoming the beacon of light. And I'm on the mission to show people the healthy lifestyle is not hard, it's easy, and it's adding life to life. And if you surround yourself with tribe of women who will lift you up, not put you down, not sabotage you, the sky is the limit, because you can have like a very joyful, long life. You just need to know how.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. I think for a lot of people too, and I may just be injecting my own word, because when you're really busy, I think that tends to be, it's that pause, like, it's like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. And yet tomorrow never comes because every day we're busy, right? It's a conscious choice. We have to be like, okay, this is something that's worthwhile. And it's interesting. These interviews are fun because I tend to think as I'm talking, because I'm like, it's true, because our own sense of worth shows up in how we're treating our bodies too, right? Like, we don't always see that connection, but if I'm working on my own self-worth, but I'm neglecting and abusing my body, is that not part of?
It's deeper than that. Because what I'm doing with my tribe, I'm doing timeline with them to understand your events in your life, your way of living, how to affect your body. Because usually some symptoms, it's easy to point out if you have a car accident or something like that. But sometimes even for me, it was toxic job, it was my marriage, and I was miserable. I was miserable. I wasn't myself. I was walking corpse. You know what I mean? And connection, when I start doing my own timeline, oh my God, all those symptoms start when I was unhappy. There is not just one root cause, it's multiple reasons. Toxic job, toxic marriage, and a lot of toxic, right? Shake it off. But yes, so the moment when you decide and you becoming your priority, you will love yourself, you will discover yourself. This is a game changer. There is a game changer. And it's like this. Something happened. It's not just your body. What happened during this time in your life? What you will did? Your grandma died. I don't know. You fail in college. Something happened. And then, you see how this escalates. It's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect to go down the road. And it's also ripple effect go up the road. There is misconception that if you have thyroid problem, it's just thyroid. We're not treating thyroid. We're treating your whole body, because there's, more stuff in your body which are connected to it, and they need to be addressed too.
I love that. It's so fascinating. And there's funny too, because there's tells. Like I one of my tells, when I get stressed, I get a cold sore. It's hilarious. I know it now. I used to just think it was a cold sore, and I was like, oh, it's winter. Da, da. Now I can feel, I know it exactly. Now it can go either way. So I'll get it and I'll be like, what am I stressed about? And it allows me to start to look and say, where do I need to pay attention? So I love how you talk about that. Like, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, the stress lower your immune system, and then the virus is showing up. So for me, though, that's good to mention it. When I'm getting anxious and I'm getting bitchy, I know that I need to take a break. My body is telling me you are boiling. You need to take a break. And there's other part to learn to be with the flow. And we learned, start morning with meditation. I invite you to add another meditation to it. Scan your body every morning. How you feel, where you have some knots maybe, where you feel pain. It's the
Yeah, I
same.
love
Just
that. I
scanning
love
your
that.
calves, not scanning your head. Scan your
Mhm.
body.
Your whole body for, yeah, I actually use that in one-on-one calls because we can take it and you look for tension, you can have colors, there might be words, there's so many messages that can come from our body. It really is. That's why I say for me, the idea is like it's a partner in this life. It's bigger and better. We are not our bodies, but while we are here having this experience, it is probably the closest relationship we have with anyone. So I love it. So what makes it all worthwhile for you, Magda?
Can you repeat the question? Can I hear?
What makes it worthwhile for you to now do this, to bring the message, to bring your light, your knowledge, your skills, to guide your tribe into stepping into this for themselves?
I think the authenticity. I think I'm not people pleaser, that's for sure. And I'm not
No,
afraid.
no rebel wild girl is.
I think, you know, what stands me, I want to authenticity and truth. It's a lot of stuff hidden from us, and I'm here to expose those, and I give you the true and choices. I'm just a guide. I cannot do the work for you. I'm just really want to be this beacon of light, and I want to be trusted person. I don't want to be observed like, you know, someone who lied to you, because you can find those everywhere. I'm for your results. I'm not for my gain.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it, but I like what is. I love to talk about a living legacy rather than leaving one, but at the same time, what is kind of like your breath of life? What do you want to be remembered for?
This is another tough question. So killing me here. Oh my God. What I want to be remembered?
I like to make us think when we're talking.
I will not put this in my word because I'm a lot. So
That's okay. That's okay. It can be an essence. It can be a sentence. It can be
unstoppable force of nature who will just overcome every storm. Actually, I would call myself a storm. So, but like you said, we're just really like living the legacy, not leaving behind the legacy. I want to be inspiration that I can lead people to healthy lifestyle, to joyful life, and doing this without compromising myself, and be doing this authentically and, you know, honestly.
I love that. I love that. Excuse me. So before we I know you have some upcoming workshops that we want to talk about and want to let people kind of know how, if they're interested in finding out more. But before we jump into that, just to kind of bring it to a close, if someone was to take away 2 or 3 key points from this interview that you're like, listen, if you do nothing else, if you don't connect with me, if you don't follow, at least take these couple points, your main kind of like key features you'd want someone to really have heard during this interview, what would they be?
If you every morning ask yourself, is your health support your dream life?
Love that.
Start listening to your body, don't ignore it. And if you cannot do this by yourself, find person who can hold your hand and answer all your questions.
I love that. And that's a perfect segue. So if people are interested in finding out more about your upcoming workshop, or depending on when people watch this, what you have going on, how to connect with you, what's the best way that they can kind of, I'll have your links on the bottom of the video as well, so they can connect, but put it on the video too, because some people don't read the bottom thing, they just listen. So if anyone's interested in finding out more, learning more about you, connecting with you, how would they go about doing it?
Awesome. So in February 6 to 8, I am hosting free 3-day challenge. It's called Own Your Health, which means that we are taking our health in our own hands. And during those 3 days, it will be fun, because for 3 days, you will have a lot of fun health activities, which will show you where you need to address something in your body. We will learn how it's supposed to learn. First thing, what you shouldn't eat, what for symptoms look, how to do this. So for 3 days, including fun games and amazing prizes, you will learn about food sensitivity and all those symptoms, and you will be surprised because so many people have no idea those symptoms are related to our health. We will learn about stomach acidity, which will blow your mind, because we have heartburn because of lower stomach acidity, not too much acidity. And on last day, which is my favorite day, we will talk about our stool. And we will be revealing our journal, what we will doing for 3 days. So this is hands-on, fun challenge. After these 3 days, you will know where you need to address, how to do this, so you have tools for rest of your life. So they'll be fun and amazing. And you can find me on my profile, Magda Sommer, or please join my group. It's Reset Wellness Journey. And, they're all fun happen over there.
That's amazing. I may have to join your challenge. I have, and I'm sure a lot of people have. I mean, you talk about the increase in, let's say, I don't know what it's called anymore, irritable bowel or IBS, IDS. They changed the name of everything so quickly. And it took me years. Like, it started with popcorn, and it took me so long to kind of figure it out. So I may join the challenge. You never know. You might find me there and let me find out about my own health and wellness and what's right or wrong, and what I've been doing right and what I've been doing wrong.
Absolutely.
Magda, I want to thank you so much. As I said, I love the word you kind of said of a storm in the wild, and you definitely are, but in such a beautiful way, in such an authentic way, in such an impactful way. And I think you really do bring to light like how fun it can be when you just be yourself, right? Like, we have messages, and I love it so much because I think in this industry where we are sharing, it's like we're sharing what we know and what has worked for us, what people do. And if they decide, we're not shoving it in anyone's face or saying it is the only way, right? Like, we all have our perspectives, we all have what we want to bring. And it is, like you said, it's our own responsibility to own our bodies, to own what we do with them. And I would highly suggest people take the workshop just to be able to open and deepen their learning and an awareness of the difference of what it is. And like with everything, we then can decide what is best for us. So I want to thank you for coming and sharing your heart, coming and sharing your practices, your information, your insights. And as I said, you're so right on so many things. There's so much about our own bodies we don't understand. I won't necessarily say it live, but I found out something about the feminine body just recently, and I was like, how am I 50 and I didn't know how many muscles that organ had? Girls, you might know what I'm talking about. So it's really fascinating. There's so much we could learn, and it's to open ourselves up to be interested and invest in ourselves enough to do it, to look and say, I don't need to just whatever's quickly given to me. Let me go do my own research. So I love that you're sharing this. I think it's a really important message, because again, mainstream is typically backed by commercial business, and they're not necessarily telling us to go and look for the holistic ways or different ways. So I think it's really important that you bring this to the general public and say it with your beautiful Spitfire spunky way, which is super cool. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody again. Make sure to check out the workshop. Make sure to check out her Facebook profile, as well as the community. And to everyone here, keep shining bright and keep being evolutionary.
Thank you so much for having me.